What's up guys, welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today we're going to talk about some more advanced team building tips and tricks that I have for you guys. Now to start with, if you guys haven't already, make sure you go back and watch my first team building tips and tricks, because this is going to be assuming you've already watched that and learned all that stuff, I guess. So without further ado, let's get to my tips. Alright, so starting off, you're going to want to use leadership. I kind of talked about this for a minute in the other video, but leadership, after perplex at win probability control, leadership I would say is the next most important power to have on your team. Leadership and also I would say telekinesis would be the two most important supportive powers to have right after the three pop perplex at win probability control. Alright, and why is that so important? And that's because of a little thing I like to call the action economy. So if we're playing like a regular 300-point game, you're going to have 3 actions and your opponent's going to have 3 actions. Now let's say you're playing a character that has leadership. Leadership, of course, just having it grants you +1 action to your action total. So now you have 4 actions, and if your opponent doesn't have any leadership, they have 3. This already gives you a huge boost because that means you can do 4 things a turn while they can only do 3. So of course this is going to be useful because you can either move an extra character a turn or make an extra attack a turn. So if you're making 4 attacks in a turn and your opponent may only be making 3 attacks in a turn, then you're of course just going to have the upper hand because statistically you're going to have better odds of hitting if you're making more attacks. You're going to be able to deal more damage in a turn if you're making more attacks. And it just really gives you the better odds of winning. Because there is such a thing as out-actioning your opponent. If your opponent especially is playing, say, a one-man army type figure who's like 200 points and then they have a couple little supporting characters, they're really only making 1, maybe 2 attacks a turn versus you having a well-built team with some leadership and several kind of decent attackers is going to be making 4 solid attacks in a turn. You know, hitting that one guy 4 times, and he might even be able to just one-shot one of your guys straight away, but then you're still going to be hitting him 4 more times. So it really adds up quick, and leadership is big not just for adding an extra action to your action total, but also for the ability to potentially remove an action token from another friendly character. Because if you can get a few lucky leadership rolls, that means you're not going to have to waste as many turns clearing your action tokens. You're going to be able to take that action token right off at the beginning of your turn, and that character is going to be able to make another attack again. So again, it just keeps going and keeps letting you do more things in a turn and not waste your turn with clearing when you could just be making another attack. Which brings me to why telekinesis is so important. Telekinesis, of course, you might be using an action for one character, but you're placing another one. This is big. For one thing, placement is a huge part of the game, but also being able to just get your character out there faster without having to give them a token to move. You can actually place them out 6 squares, and then maybe they can running shot and hit somebody that they never would have been able to hit that turn. Or even if you just want to move them up and just get them out there without having to give them an action token, so that next turn comes around and they don't have any action tokens and they just roll up and attack your other opponent's characters that just moved up. That's a perfectly good strategy as well. But what might be even better for that type of strategy is actually the carry ability. That's the third thing I want to talk about right now for action economy. The carry ability, anybody with flight can carry, vehicles can carry, anybody that has a passenger symbol that can carry multiple characters especially is incredibly helpful for a team. If you can carry more than 1 character with 1 action, if you can move 1 character giving them 1 action token and you've moved up 4 characters by carrying like 3 more or something, that's huge. The ability to move so many characters with so few actions and then to have them moved up and not have any action tokens of their own, so that even if they don't have willpower, they don't have to push or anything. They're already there, they're already in position. They can just go, and it's super, super helpful. And not only to get into a fight, but also to get out of it if you're losing, because having a good carry or a good telekinesis lined up for once you've gotten into a fight, once they take a hit, or maybe somebody moves up on them that you don't want to because they're your ranged figure and they're not good in close combat, then you can pull them back out of the fight and get them into a better position right away. Because positioning is very important. Now this isn't really a positioning and gameplay tips video, this is a team building video. But if you guys want me to do a whole video about positioning and gameplay general tips, let me know in the comments because I can do one about that too. But back to my main discussion here about action economy and why it's important. So why do you want to have leadership, telekinesis, and the carry ability? Well, I already kind of spelled it out for you. You want to be able to have more things to do in a turn. You want to keep your options open and really, you know, leadership, giving you that extra action, letting you either out action your opponent or keep up with your opponent. Because remember, if your opponent's playing some leadership too, you're going to want to at least be able to match them 4 for 4 actions in a turn. Of course, talking about a standard like 300-point game, it does get a little different when we're talking about higher point games or lower point games or whatever. But while we're here, also another thing maybe I should mention is other things that add actions to your action total, not just leadership. There's lots of these new Justice League characters that came out in the JLU set that had things that add actions to your action total, and some other characters do it here and there too. Those are the same type of thing, and that's nice to have too, because it's not just leadership. If it's just leadership, you can only get 1 action extra on your action total, no matter what, no matter how many leaderships you have, really. But having other characters that add actions to your action total just from their own different traits and special effects is also nice to have, because it can get you up to like a ridiculous amount of, like, you know, 6 or 7 actions in like a 300-point game. And that's pretty insane. Just letting your whole team go do whatever and not worry about your action total is very useful. And this brings me to my next point also, is autonomous. Autonomous is a very powerful ability, and now that we've seen a lot of autonomous come out in the Spider-Man and Venom Absolute Carnage set, it's much more prevalent on common and uncommon figures. It used to really just be on a few bystanders here and there, but now actual physical characters are getting autonomous a lot. So autonomous is another huge one because their actions don't count against your action total at all. So if you have 4 actions and you have 1 or 2 characters with autonomous, you really kind of have 6 actions in that case. So you can see how just stacking all these types of effects really lets you just do more and more and more things in a turn. And of course, that's going to, like I said, just mathematically give you better odds of winning. The more things you can do in a turn, the more moves you can make, the more attacks you can make. It just really, really helps you that much more. So when you are team building, do try and include at least 1 leadership figure. Maybe try and throw in a character with autonomous if you can. Definitely try and test out some characters with telekinesis, because giving 1 character in action to move your maybe main attacker up forward quicker and get them into the fight faster, or even to pull them out of the fight quicker. Maybe they have hypersonic. There's a cool hypersonic yo-yo type of tactic you can do there, where you move up, shoot, move back, and then have somebody actually telekinesis them back to even further. So that's an important tactic to know about if you guys are new to team building, or even having 2 telekinesers. Even TK one out, you know, shoot, and then TK him back is a good combo as well. So you can see how, while that might be using more of your actions to only get like 1 attack out, positioning wise, it can be a really good tactic to keep you safe, and it can be a very effective use of your actions still, because this is action economy. And it doesn't just mean we're doing more and more things, we're just really getting the most bang for our buck here. So if you can move a figure all the way out and make an attack on somebody halfway across the board and then pull them all the way back into safety where your opponent has almost no chance of getting to you, then great. Then you've managed to make an attack and remain safe. So points for that as well. So that's really just what I wanted to talk about, I guess. There's a lot of great things you can do if you really pay attention and think about how you're using your actions and the best way to use them and how to increase them. Is very important to pay attention to in your games. You don't just want to move out. Carrying, like I said, is a big thing. You want to carry as many characters as you can at once, so you're moving as much of your team with as few actions as you can, really having just a couple characters with flight, or even just 1 really good character that can carry 3 or 4 characters is very, very important. Definitely look out for that on when you're building your teams. Try to include a few carrying characters, because just reducing the cost of moving up more figures is very, very beneficial and have helped me win a lot of games by itself. All right, but I think I've talked enough for one day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did find it informative, please do smash that like button for me. I would appreciate it. Let me know in the comments any thoughts you have or any questions you have. I'll be of course, always more than willing to answer any questions for you. And if you guys have any of your own tips and tricks for like, team building with like action economy in mind, make sure to leave those in the comments as well and help us all out some more. And of course, don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, and you can see more awesome tips and tricks like these if you guys want. But that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys would like to help support the channel some more, there's of course links in the description for our Patreon. You can see your name here in the credits with all of our awesome Patreon patrons, and as well as see some other awesome bonuses there. So check that out. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, this is Heroclix headquarters, signing off.